Great. So let me go to my next topic, which is about buyer personas. So buyer personas have to be created by the marketing team as they give them focus in designing campaigns and the distribution of the same. You need to know your end consumers in order to design the experience that will appeal to them. So let me start with Abhinaya, and she can tell the marketing students out there that how does basically a marketing professional make buyer persona for his particular brand.
Sure, Nikhil. So when it comes to personas, they're just perspectives. Whenever a business person wants others to assume that he is a businessman, what would he probably be doing? He would be driving a fancy car. He would be dressing all up in fancy clothes, having high phone. This is just a perception that has been created by the end user, and that's what, as marketers, we are also getting those perception and giving a fictional character or a fictional term and classifying them into different personas. So that's exactly what personas is all about. One good example I would like to give is close up. They were classifying their target audience very neat and clear. So they were all about they were targeting teenage people and the starting stage of adolescence. So these were their target audience, and how they were targeting these people, what they figured out is what some of the most common characteristics they found out was, they these people want white teeth and no dimples, and
I think Abhinaya internet was an issue.
no decays and confidence. Just a second, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, we
Yes,
lost you
so
in
these
between. If
were
you
the
could
target
repeat it.
audience.
Yeah,
Sorry, Nick.
yeah. You'll have to
Yeah,
repeat your
I'll repeat
point
from the
because
first, the
there was a
answers.
point that we lost you. So you'll have to repeat that point that you're making.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I'll start from the close-up. Is that fine?
Yes.
Yeah. So one of the important case study that I would be discussing here is the close-up. So close-up was targeting 13 to 24, the specific age group, teenage and the starting stage of the adults. So what they were identifying was, they require no tooth decay and white teeth and confidence when approaching the preferred sex. So these were some of the most common characteristics which was found in their target audience. And that's exactly why, if you had noticed their ads and all, it would be full of music, dances, and very young teenage people romancing all about it. That's exactly why the campaigns and ads are similar to it. They are relatable. So this is one of the important case study. When identifying a persona, if you are targeting it correctly, if you have identified it correctly, you know what to do as a brand, and that's exactly why close-up is still a market leader in that particular niche. And to move on to the steps, I would suggest two particular steps. When you are a business or a brand, start researching your audience, start with your customers. Research about your customers, what they are, what are their qualities, what are the common things that they share, who are your repeat purchasers, who are your best purchasers. Share take all the important minute details. They might have the biggest value to it. When you group it up, when you segregate and give names to it, you will be able to figure out which persona is what exactly your products or services could match, and you will be able to target them in a very better way. And yes, one good example is, again, when you find the challenges, the common challenges figured out by the target audience, that's how, let's take Ola or Oyo. They know what are the difficulties we have been facing it, and that's why they were able to come up with such an amazing product, and it's not going to be dying anytime soon.
Awesome. Shubhrika, your views on buyer personas?
Sure. So one thing that I'll fixate on that Abhinaya said is relatability. Now, relatability is how we are targeting our marketing campaigns, how we're structuring them, how we're coming up with new strategies. So we'll begin this with the very first thing. I think that this revolution came in of market research with Google Analytics, the simplified platform of understanding what your user is actually doing on your website, and then creating your marketing plan, your email sequence, etc., according to the behavior of that XYZ user at the end. Now, whatever that user behavior is resulting in eventually becomes the buyer persona for the predictive analysis that we create going forward, right? So that is one thing. We are seeing a lot of rage and confusion and trend again with this WhatsApp's new data policy, which for some reason is seemingly very new for the majority of the audience, but has already been happening for decades, ever since Facebook came in, ever since Google started with ads. So all that this data that is being stored is doing is creating specific buyer personas by the data that it's getting by our own usage on these platforms. Now, that is how digitally we are easily able to run these researches. What is happening is that earlier we were in the primary research phase, wherein we had to run up direct face to face personal surveys with questionnaires on paper and go from street to street, house to house. That has just gotten simplified, but the number of data, the amount of data has significantly exponentiated, which is why these tools are actually using that data how to create buyer personas. Now, as a marketer, what we can do is actually taken tools like Google Analytics or SEMrush is, well, something different, but then Moz Pro. That is one huge thing that gives out a great predictive analysis. Now, data visualization that will easily convert your users' behavior into spread out demographics, and then the kind of dislikes or likes that the user has, eventually making it easier for the marketer to create the campaign at the end. Targeting the audience isn't just about mass marketing anymore. There's this term coined by Seth Godin, permission marketing, which is the entire basis of email marketing, right? So until and unless someone has the permission to market to me, they're not going to be able to do that. Now, with that, I know the kind of people who are ready to hear from me, and what their ideologies are, what their perceptions are. Based on that, I can easily create the personality of my buyer and then create my product or service according to what my buyer is interested in. That is, if I'll talk about content. Now, content marketing is the huge deal right now. That's exactly what influencers are doing. That's exactly what we are doing currently. We're just creating content for a social platform for the audience to be able to view it. We beforehand know it that the audience is the person who's interested in knowing marketing and is either already a marketer and wants to learn more or wants to find something relatable, or is someone who's still interested in getting into marketing. So we've already created a buyer persona. It basically, all in all, it's exactly what Abinaya said, that it's nothing else but a perception of who your buyer is going to be.